There's a hidden tax that most organizations pay at one time or another. It doesn't show up on financial statements, it doesn't appear in production numbers, and it rarely gets discussed in board meetings. But it's something that compounds over time. It's the tax of mediocrity. It's not about failure, it's not disaster, it's the just good enough excuse. And good enough can become expensive. I've seen it in boardrooms. I've seen it in dental practices. I've seen it in leadership teams across multiple industries. Clear roles, clear bylaws, clear procedures. And still, no one takes the time to read them and understand them. No one reviews them proactively. Everyone just assumes someone else will, or they don't care enough to do it themselves. Here's a specific example. You have a board with a full governance manual. It's distributed to every board member. At the next meeting, when a procedural conflict arises, how many people have opinions based on the content of the manuals? 1? 2? In my experience, it's been not very many. And that is a problem if you're trying to run a board. If you have a strategy team and nobody has read the content coming into the strategy meeting, how do you have a productive meeting? If you have a dental team and you have SOPs, something goes wrong during a procedure, how many people reference the SOP prior to coming to you as the leader or owner with an excuse? Well, this is how confusion builds, time is wasted, and eventually trust erodes. It's rarely a documentation failure. It's usually a responsibility failure. We say we want excellence, but excellence requires voluntary effort beyond the minimum obligation. That is where most teams stop. I know this isn't pleasant to hear, but I'm not here to be pleasant today. So there are 2 aversions specifically worth naming. These often get confused. The first is excellence aversion. Raising the bar can feel disruptive. It creates comparison. It makes the gap visible, so people quietly resist it. The second is personal responsibility aversion. This is when somebody says, I will comply when required, but I won't engage unless prompted. This one's harder to spot because it looks like cooperation. The person shows up, they do their part, causes no problems. But they also never go first. They never prepare beyond what's required. They simply wait. Now, not everything deserves excellence, and knowing the difference itself is a critical skill. In fact, it's a critical thinking skill. Good enough can be a legitimate standard, but only when it's a conscious decision made by the team, not the default choice. Before you settle, you need to be able to answer 2 questions. What would excellence actually require here? And is that cost justifiable by the outcome? If you can answer both clearly, good enough is a reasonable choice. If you can't, then it's just mediocrity with better branding. The goal is not to pour maximum effort into everything. That's unsustainable. The goal is to think deliberately about where the bar should be set and then own that decision. Most organizations think they have an excellence problem. They actually have a responsibility problem. The difference matters because the solutions are completely different. So let's be honest about what excellent preparation actually looks like. Reading bylaws is not exciting. Reviewing SOPs is not glamorous. Preparing for meetings is not something that you post about on your daily Instagram reel. But all of those are where standards are reinforced. Excellence is not built in moments of inspiration. It's built in quiet preparation that few see. No one can force you to do it. Now here's what the hidden tax actually costs. When individuals don't take responsibility, meetings run long. Decisions get constantly revisited. conflicts escalate, energy drains. The highest performers, though, the ones who do prepare, start to disengage because carrying the standard alone is exhausting. Over time, standards may lower, expectations soften, accountability becomes awkward. Let's just move on becomes the default. No one notices the drift at first, until eventually performance drops and everyone wonders what changed. Well, nothing changed dramatically. Everything drifted incrementally. So now let's reframe this. Excellence is not about intensity. It is consistency aligned with values. And consistency requires ownership, not inspiration, not enforcement, ownership. So here's the honest question to ask. Where are you waiting to be told what you already know you should do? Stop waiting. Pick one standard. Raise it quietly, personally, and consistently. Not for recognition, but because you can. That is the work.